Water, we often talk about keeping the water on our farms as much as we can. Full cover crop would be fantastic, right? And there are growers that do that full cover crop and with a number of different species. I've got friends who use either leguminous species cover crops that can do full cover crops, turn that soil around, especially when that land is used for a later planting harvest, so they can prepare the soil in the spring still, possibly pre-irrigate if needed, with a full cover crop. But I was interested in some of the research that was done down in Monterey that allowed for this, what we call low residue cover crops, where what if we put some type of cover crop just in the furrows to reduce the amount of water that was running off, to keep it in the field while also drying out the furrows. It accomplishes a lot of goals, both those that I stated, but also allows for some vegetative growth in the furrows, some root mass, reduce compaction, allow for equipment to get through the fields with a bit more ease. What we did here is, I mean, this is a really, I'm embarrassed by how simple and how, just kind of, there's not a lot to this. So you could either drill or you can just sprinkle at this point ahead of a rain. And these are oats. I was looking for a cheaper seed, but they've used it with triticale and ryegrass, whatever fits your system. Again, put it down in the furrow, let the rain bring it up. And then at some point, usually about 50 days after sowing, you would terminate that crop, spraying it out with usually a glyphosate material. And so you can kind of see what that would look like about the stage of spraying. And it looks like, now, if I were to do it again, there's always Monday morning quarterbacking, right? I would say, hey, we could have gone one more rain. But the thing is, you don't know that, right? You don't know when you need to stop. And when we're trying different things, the last thing we want to do is we want to go one more, and everyone's looking at what you're doing and saying, "Oh, Tommy, I knew that would not work," and I don't want that for myself, and I don't want others to be really discouraged by the fact that sometimes these things are challenging, and so we wanted to make sure that it would work in this case. And it did. You would go out to this field now, which is now sunflowers, and they're about 6 inches tall, and you would have no idea that there was a cover crop there. Now, some would look at that and go, "Oh, that's too bad." And I look at that and go, it depends on what your goals are, right? If our goal was to reduce the runoff and to keep water in the field, the goal was accomplished. What they've shown down in Monterey, Richard Smith, Michael Kahn, and others have shown that there's been a reduction of 70% runoff, even after it's been sprayed, 30 days after, or even longer after it's been sprayed with glyphosate. It's really that residue, whether live, obviously that's better, will reduce runoff even more, or terminated, will still reduce a significant amount of runoff.